There is a famous insult in the design world. Some architects treat landscape architecture like parsley around the roast. They think the building is the main meal and the landscape is just a garnish you throw on at the end to make it look nice. If you think that, you are missing the point. The parsley dies, the garnish withers, and decoration is temporary. But landscape architecture is about creating the context that keeps the building alive. Without it, the building is just an object in a void. Welcome everyone. In this series, we are covering the entire landscape architecture curriculum. Today, in episode 1, we are defining the discipline itself. We are going to strip away the myths. It is not just gardening. It is not just maintenance. It is the design of the environment that supports life. We are going to look at the scope, the tools, and why is it the most complex design field you will ever study. If architecture is the design of the object or the space, landscape architecture is the design of the context. The object cannot exist without the context. A house needs a plot, a city needs a region, a human needs an environment. So delete the idea of decoration from your brain. We are not decorators, we are world builders. Today, we start your journey into the profession. Let's begin with the core concept, figure and ground. To understand the discipline, you have to think like an artist. Architecture is the figure. It is the positive space. Landscape architecture is the ground. It is the negative space, the void between the buildings. Think of the famous face and vase illusion. You can't see the face without the background. In the same way, a building cannot exist without the landscape. The landscape holds the building. We design the air, the light, the drainage, and the pathways. We design the space where you stand to look at the building. If architect designs the house, we design the world the house lives in. This relationship is symbiotic. Bad landscape can ruin a great building. Great landscape can save a bad building. So your job is to design the void, to shape the empty space into something meaningful. Now let's look at where this word comes from. The etymology tells us everything. The word landscape comes from the Dutch word Landschap. Land means the region, the soil, the biology. But scape is the important part. It means to shape or to create. It implies human shaping. This is critical. A landscape is not wild nature. Nature is very chaotic. A landscape is a picture of nature that humans have organized. So the discipline is not just about saving the planet. It is about intervening in the planet to make it habitable for humans. We are the bridge between the wild and the city. We are the translators of nature. To do this, we need to master 3 specific disciplines. We call these 3 pillars. The first pillar is engineering. We are the civil engineers of the surface. We grade the land and manage water. Because if you don't understand slope and drainage, your beautiful garden will flood the basement. It starts with math. The second pillar is ecology. We are biologists. We select plants that support local birds and insects. We design living systems. We don't just place objects, we start biological processes. And the third pillar is art. We deal with aesthetics, color, texture, scent, and the human experience. We paint with plants, we sculpt with earth, we are designing how a space feels. This discipline is a balancing act. If you only care about art, you are a gardener. If you only care about engineering, you are a builder. You must be both. You must be the Leonardo da Vinci of the outdoors, scientist and artist in one. And to do this work, we use a specific set of tools. Let's look at the toolkit. The first tool, of course, is the pencil. It sounds simple, but sketching is how we think. We draw to understand the land. You need to be able to draw a section through a hill. You need to visualize the layers of the earth. The second tool is GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems. This is our digital brain. We use satellite data to analyze terrain. We look at slope analysis, water flow, and sun path. We don't guess, we calculate. The third tool is the plant palette. You need to know your materials, which tree survives in shade, which grass survives drought. You are not just choosing colors, you are choosing survivors. You are building a living team. And the fourth tool is time. This is the most unique tool we have. We design with the fourth dimension. This leads us to the biggest difference between architecture and landscape architecture, which is the medium. What are we actually building with? Architecture, on one hand, is static. It fights against time. A building is perfect on day one and then it slowly degrades. But landscape architecture is dynamic. It embraces time. We design for growth. A space I design today will look completely different in winter than it does in summer. It will look different in 5 years than it does in 50. We are designing a moving target. When you draw a tree on a plan, you are not drawing a circle, you are drawing a legacy. This makes our job harder. We have to predict the future. We have to imagine the shade that does not exist yet. But it also makes it rewarding. We are the only designers whose work gets better with age. So to summarize this introduction, don't think of landscape as a leftover space. Think of it as the outdoor room. The sky is your ceiling, the trees are your walls, the earth is your floor. And your job is to furnish and design that room with the same care you would give to a living room. You are creating the habitat for human life. It is a massive responsibility. Now that we know what the discipline is, we need to learn how to read the land.
Whoa, it's glowing.
In the next episode, we are going to look at the battle between wild nature and man-made order. We will learn to spot the differences between a natural landscape and a modified one. This is the first step in becoming a landscape architect. So see you in the next episode.